this really is an exciting opportunity for the town, something that the town has been working towards for a long time and hasn't really been able to get across the finish line. So the webpage up here, barrington.nh.gov/TIF, all of this information and more. The most important document on that webpage is the 18-page development program and financing plan. And that's ultimately what voters will approve when they vote on Article 9 in March. And so before we talk about the TIF district and get confused about that financing economic development mechanism, let's talk about the town center. And this is what Barrington has spent so long developing and really designing. And so the map you're looking at here is a zoning map and centered around the Route 9 and 125 intersection. And what you see in yellow there is the town center zoning district. The end of the day, what the town center is it's a zoning district, which we'll talk about what the origin was and why that's the case, but this is where it is. You'll see it's surrounded by some other zoning districts. The other big one here, the blue-purple, is the village district. So let's come back here. So the town center, again, we're talking the geographic center, what people think of when they think of the center of Barrington. They're thinking of this 9 and 125 intersection. And what the town center zoning district is, zoning sets separate land use rules for different parts of town. And the design of the town center zoning district was to maintain the rural character of Barrington by consolidating the mixed use development to this part of town and include generous civic use and open space. So there's an opportunity for a community to gather. And the background, there's kind of 4 steps, the 3 really, and we're at the 4th one now to get to where we are. In 2003, the Barrington residents did a comprehensive update to the master plan. A lot of citizen involvement. And the biggest takeaway at that time, they wanted a quaint town center. And that laid the groundwork for, in 2007, the town hired a consultant to do a comprehensive visioning process for this town center to help design what the zoning would look like, what the goals were, what needed to be done. And so that happened in 2007. And each one of these is a link. This presentation's on the website, and you can look at those master plan updates and the town visioning documents. And then in 2008, the town adopted the town center zoning district. And like I said, this is maintaining rural character by consolidating mixed use development with a lot of civic use. And so this isn't my plan. This isn't this board's plan. This town center idea has been something the residents of Barrington have consistently said that they want and they support for years, and they've been waiting for it to happen. And so what the TIF district is we're at the implementation phase. We're at the phase where we need to make this plan happen for residents, and the TIF district is a tool to do that. So this is from that 2007 visioning process. This is an illustrative map that shows a quaint little town center around the Route 9 and 125. There's some frontage roads. There's a lot of civic use open space. This is another map. This shows development potential. So Route 125 goes north-south, Route 9 east-west. It shows that mixed use, the commercial development, the supporting residential development, connecting streets, things like that. So what did residents say that they wanted out of this town center? They said they wanted transportation improvements. They wanted it to be a safe, walkable town center with frontage roads or gateways. They wanted sidewalks or crosswalks so it could be safe for vehicles and pedestrians. I'll note that we recently had an applicant come before the zoning board proposing some development on one of the parcels down here. And the strongest negative feedback came from residents in the area that were concerned about traffic and pedestrian safety. And those are legitimate concerns because the road infrastructure down there isn't designed right now to support walkability in the town center. There isn't even a crosswalk to get from one side or the other of Route 9. And so it's a big impediment to the type of quaint town center development to not have those transportation upgrades. And that's what residents have said that they want all along. They said they wanted opportunities for active and passive recreation. The zoning district requires that every time you develop down there, you commit 15 to 25% of the land to civic use and open space. And that gives the opportunity for the town to come in and build the town green or the ball field or the pavilion or the gazebo, the gathering places in the town center to support that development that's happening. And indoor community space. This was a big one that popped up consistently. A community center, a senior center, a library, some combination of that in the town center to support the businesses and be a draw for that area. So let's look back at that map. These red circles are what residents said they wanted and where illustratively they showed up on that plan in 2007 and beyond. So we've gone over the plan. We know what the town center is, and there have even been more steps. So like I said, here we are in 2023. It's time, and we have an opportunity to make that happen. And the TIF district is a tool to do that. In 1988, the residents of Barrington, in their wisdom, adopted the provisions of establishing TIF districts. And never was a TIF district proposed. The enabling legislation was adopted by a large majority, and then it sat dormant. We talked about the 2007 Town Center Plan. There was another community profile in 2014 that said the same thing. 2019, Recreation did a needs assessment, strategic plan, over hundreds and hundreds of responses and involved residents, said the same thing. We've updated chapters to the master plan. We've done other zoning ordinance updates. And it's all said the same thing, supporting this idea for a town center. And so I see it's my responsibility and this board's responsibility to try to find a way to make that happen if residents keep telling us that that's what they want. And the biggest challenge of that is all the things that we just talked about cost money. And that's the biggest challenge when it comes to actually getting any of this done, which is you won't be surprised to know the purpose of the TIF district. That gives us this opportunity. So this is a way to get the money to develop the town center without increasing the taxes or being a tax burden to the rest of the residents by temporarily utilizing the increased taxes of development that happens, that incremental tax towards the development goals or whatever we're trying to accomplish. In this case, the town center. And so tax increment financing, that's TIF. It's a temporary economic development tool. So the idea is you come in, you make investments. So you use the added tax and reinvest that in the area to end up with more economic development or more appropriate economic development than would have existed if you did nothing, if you just left it alone. And it being temporary, when you're done, the goes back to the whole town and to benefit the tax base overall. So it's for funding improvements, civic use and public facilities, utilities, transportation, and importantly, it's to develop and maintain those. So it's not just we're going to build a park, but it makes money available for maintaining that park and adding mulch every 2 years and, buying the Bobcat to plow the sidewalks, which is the biggest reason nobody wants sidewalks is because it's going to cost money. Well, this is an opportunity to utilize tax increment. So take the money the developers pay for the added value that they bring to town and reinvest it in that area to make it more desirable. And so it's a popular tool in New Hampshire. Most of the municipalities around us and a lot of municipalities throughout the state have used this to accomplish goals similar to this. And I think that was the idea back in 1988 when residents adopted it. So what does the TIF district do? There's a comprehensive frequently asked questions section on the website, barrington.nh.gov/TIF. Again, it invests just the new taxes. It doesn't touch the tax base that exists, but it invests the new taxes to promote smart development, establishes and maintains community space. It allows the town to develop partnerships to realize those broader goals of the town center so that we can work together to get the open space in the right areas and connect the transportation corridors that really achieve the vision of the town center, which again, the whole reason we're here is because people have this town center idea. If somebody doesn't buy into the idea that they want a town center in Barrington, they're not gonna like this idea either. But if and as the majority of Barrington, when they've had the opportunity to opine, say they want this town center, this allows us to accomplish that. And again, at the end of the day, voters are in charge. Only voters can adopt or amend the TIF district. Couple important notes about what it isn't. Doesn't change zoning at all. We talked about the town center being a zoning district that exists. The TIF district does nothing to that. The zoning stays the same. Doesn't change property rights for the people in the district or outside the district. all the same requirements to the zoning board, planning board, et cetera. There's no increase in taxes. Everybody still pays the same amount in taxes. The only difference is the new value that developers create within the district is allowed to be reinvested during the duration of the district to promote the businesses that are going there and further increase the tax base. It doesn't create any special fees or assessments, and it doesn't decrease the funding to the school or the county. So it's, at the end of the day, this is a mechanism to accomplish the goal and the vision of the town center. There was a process. This started, the select board and planning board were talking about this town center and the need for a plan to achieve that goal. We had a variety of stakeholder meetings with residents and business owners, department heads, boards, committees, commissions, various other public meetings, and took all that input and put it into this development program and financing plan, which the select board adopted at their last meeting in December. So this is what the district looks like. So this again is 9 and 125, north is up. The purple shows the parcels which are part of the TIF district. It incorporates that town center area and also includes other areas of civic use or open space or areas that have development potential. So it's 205 parcels, about 1,200 acres. The baseline value is about $80 million. It's proposed to expire in 20 years. Again, it's temporary. There's no bond. The plan is to only spend cash that's available from development that happens within the district. And it's designed around this recurring vision of the Barrington Town Center. We've talked about this. What kind of improvements are we going to do? Civic use public facilities, recreation space, court, splash pad, park, playground. We're not going to do all of this, but this is what we've heard from residents, and this is what we'll be able to invest in the area to fit with the development that's happening. Utilities, transportation, et cetera. So again, how is it going to be paid for? Only new development or that incremental tax. As development is constructed, that incremental tax will fund the development program. There's an advisory board, and the select board is involved in decision making. And then once the TIF district expires, all of the value will be added to the tax base. Who makes decisions? Again, voters are in charge. Only voters can adopt or amend the TIF district. If there's any need for a bond in the future, only voters would be able to do that, and it would require 60% majority. There's an advisory board made up of residents and business owners that are a part of every step of the process. And the select board is responsible for implementation. So this is what the warrant article would look like. Essentially does three things. It establishes the district, it adopts the development program and financing plan, and it gives the select board the authority to create the advisory board. And that's warrant article number 9. So happy to address questions from the select board and then the community after.